Hello, everybody, and welcome to the At the Pro Podcast, episode 6, I believe. My name is Eric, aka From the Couch. I'm here joined by
Alex Morello.
And starting out today, we're just going to quickly brush over some hockey news, then we're going to get into one thing everyone is talking about on YouTube right now, which is their NHL bracket. But that is to come. So starting out with Jeff Carter announces his retirement after a very long season, a lot longer than I remember. He's 39, played 1,321 games for the Philadelphia Flyers, Columbus Blue Jackets, LA Kings, and of course the Pittsburgh Penguins. Another historic name to go down this season, I guess, or to announce retirement.
100%. Absolute Kings legend. I know the Columbus fans don't really like him, but Kings legend. And yeah, great career overall.
Yeah, like he was never like the biggest goal scorer or kind of I don't know, like he was never just like the biggest superstar, but he was really consistent. He was an amazing season.
He was a good sniper when he needed to be. Like, if you needed a guy to go buy a goal for you, like he was in his prime, he was really good. Just a really good scoring center. So one of the main reasons why LA wins those two cups is because they have him, and he's had a pretty good career since. I know it hasn't worked out the past year in Pittsburgh, but even when he first got to Pittsburgh, that looked like a really good trade for them. So
yeah. He's always thrived when you put him with a guy like Crosby or a guy like Dustin Brown and those guys. Like if you put him with a more in your face kind of all-star player, then he's always thrived. He's been a very good backup, and he's always been a really good guy to have on your depth. But
yeah,
shout out to him. Speaking of retirement, it's not happened yet, but it is the news I think we all thought was coming, is Fleury. He signs a 1-year extension with the Wild, but does announce that after that extension's up, that in the 2024-2025 season, that he will be retiring. This, to me, is the biggest news of retirement that we've gotten this season. It's not official yet, and of course, he hasn't actually retired yet, but I don't know. It's going to be weird to see a league without Price and without Fleury. It's going to be a really new era in goaltending.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say. Like, one of the best to ever do it. Part of the reason why Pittsburgh goes on all their runs. Such a long career. I think this next season, I think he can be like second in wins in all time for goalies. Obviously, Martin Brodeur is first because nobody's ever going to pass him. I don't think any goalie is ever going to start the same amount of games that guy did. He's an animal. But it's just weird. Like, weird seeing all of the players that we grew up watching slowly start to find their way out of the game. And yeah, it's strange. I don't want to think about it. Like, that's going to be it's going to be really, like, I really hope that Minnesota can go on some kind of a playoff run. Any kind of playoff run. A, because I think they're due. It's been a long time. But B, to do it for Fleury. And I wonder if the team is going to have that mentality next year of, like, do it for Fleury. And I think he's going to be playing. He played really well this year, actually. Like, despite being 39, he had a really good year on kind of a mediocre Minnesota team. So
he was the best part of that team for a good, like, the entire year. Like, he was.
Yeah,
him and Kirill Kaprizov were the main.
Yeah, those two were their MVPs this year. If the rest of the team could pull their weight, who knows next year? But yeah, it's just, you hate to see it, but father time comes for everyone.
Yeah, like this to me is kind of the marking the beginning of the end of the Pittsburgh dynasty. And I know that he doesn't play for Pittsburgh anymore, but like this is the true end of, like, there's going to be a day where Malkin's going to retire here in the next few years and Crosby's going to retire in the next few years. Like, it's all going to come to an end, and Letang is going to retire as well. So it's kind of, I don't know. It's the end of an era, really. Like I'm gonna miss Fleury. That guy was so fun. Like he was no matter what team he was on, he was the face of it, in my opinion. Like
Yeah,
even like
and
the Golden Knights taking them on their miracle run, and yeah,
yeah, and if it wasn't for those pesky Montreal Canadiens, he might have. Well, Tampa Bay was on another one that year, but if the Knights had gotten their act together, then maybe he would have gotten another. But I mean, he's a 3-time Cup champ.
Yeah.
It's like this guy's done it all, seen it all. Like
he has nothing left to prove.
he is, yeah, exactly. He's gonna be second all time in wins this year. Like he has literally nothing left to prove. Other than that, he is one of the greatest goaltenders to ever play in the NHL, and certainly one of the easily top 5 goaltenders from this era. So yeah, it's gonna suck, but that's the way she goes.
Yeah, best of luck to him. I would be amazed if he doesn't come back to the league in some sort of coaching role.
Yeah, I think he would be a really solid, even if it was just a goalie coach. But I think I think actually he would be great as a goalie coach. I think he has so much, just picking his brain about the game, and just
or at least
seeing,
like an advisory role. Yeah, like
yeah.
if all I'm saying is the Devils look like they need a new goalie coach, and if they're still having those troubles come 2025, I would, if I'm them, I'm maybe giving him a call, just at least asking for some advice.
Yeah, I
Seeing where
think
that
he
goes.
would be really good in an advisory role. Although it's also Fleury. Like he seems like a guy that's very reclusive in a way. Like I at the same time could see him just disappearing to a lodge somewhere in northern
Some players do
Manitoba.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I think everyone said the same thing for like Wayne Gretzky is like, oh, he's going to come back as a coach, and then he came back for a coach for the Coyotes for a little while, and he was fine. He just wasn't. He was more of a player than he was a coach, and that's sometimes that's just how it is, Like some.
And I
guys are
think
just
he
better
realized
playing than
that pretty
coaching.
fast. I think he.
Yeah, he was
I
only.
understood.
I think he was only a coach for a couple seasons.
Yeah, but you know what? It's not for everyone. I have to give respect to guys who are like, you know what? I just don't have it. It is what it is. That self-awareness.
Yep. He ran a liquor company that's doing well. Yeah, good for him. But speaking of people just wanting money, I don't know. That was a bad transition, but
No, that was great.
Alex Morello, I promise after this we're most likely done talking about the Coyotes after this. I think everything that's been said, needed to be said, has been said. But I just want to mention another kind of dick move from Alex Morello for canceling the Coyotes tailgate at the last minute. They were going to have a huge viewing party outside the arena with this big screen, and he canceled it at the last minute. I think I saw I'm not sure if the announcement came up before, but when I saw it, it was like an hour before the game started. So really, and not even that, he just didn't show up to the game in the first place anyway. So canceling it made no difference to him. It was, to me, it's just, I don't know what he's doing. Like, I don't know what he's even thinking at this point. Like, what's your mindset screwing over the fans for a team that you supposedly believe in and want to come back in good graces? Why fuck them over one last time?
Did you see the conference he did with Gary Bettman yesterday?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard it was bad.
Oh man,
I heard it was awkward.
I highly recommend going to watch it. You will actually agree with Gary Bettman. Like, you will take Bettman's side, and I never thought I would say that.
That's what I've heard, yeah.
Bettman, there's
I
one
heard
point
he rinsed him.
He rinsed him. There was one point in the conference where Morello was just schizo rambling about how the Coyotes were turning a profit, but he knew this situation was unsustainable, and he was like, but we were making so much money. And then Gary Bettman comes in and he's just straight up cuts him off and says, actually they were losing so much money. And it's the most awkward. Oh my god. It's if you thought Alex Morello couldn't get worse, go watch that video. And you will, it's embarrassing, quite frankly. And I really get the sense that Bettman in the NHL really don't want Morello to actually go through with his land auction and building an arena. And I'm
I
getting
don't
the
think they.
sense that they don't think he will because he's
Yeah,
a
that's what I was
huge
gonna say.
cheapskate.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I think he honestly like I I don't think he will. Like I just don't see it happening. Like with all that's been happening, and this presser is just gonna make it worse. Like with all the bad press against him, like I just don't see it going through, and I just don't. Like you said, he's such a cheapskate. He's always just like all about cutting corners and all about saving money and all this, and it's like I feel like when it comes down to like okay, actually pay the bill and actually like front the money, he's just gonna chicken out. Like
Yeah, and I
he's
wonder if
all
the
talk.
NHL purposely set a lot of the conditions on the expansion deal so that like knowing that he couldn't reach the milestones. Like to our understanding, they have very strict milestones of like you have to do X, Y, Z in this order specifically at these time frames, or else this deal is void and you don't get an expansion franchise. And obviously, one of those is winning the land auction. Like, this could all go out the window in June if he loses the land auction, because to my understanding, that's the first condition on this, is you have to win the land auction. And if he loses it, well, that's moot. Then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, some other billionaire group can come in, and if they have the funds and whatnot, they can build the arena and get the Coyotes back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I'm really wondering if this was delivered on the NHL side, and if it was, maybe Gary Bettman's been playing 4D chess this whole time, and we just didn't
Mm-hmm.
see it.
Yeah, like I think he like I just say what you want about Bettman. He is not a dumb man. He is a very smart businessman, and he will think. Like from everyone who's ever talked to him has said, like every insider who's had conversations with him, he's like he thinks ahead, and he thinks further ahead than most people. So it could be very well a thing where he knows that Morello is too cheap to actually put a bid down on the land. So he could just say like, okay, you'll get the team if you win this deal, but both of them know that he's not going to actually go through on this deal. So the team goes to a more competent owner while relocating, making the relocation as smooth as possible for the players. I think maybe that's what he's thinking. Um, I wouldn't exactly call this transition smooth. It's been a little bit of a clusterfuck, but
Yep.
at the end of the day, like there was no easy way to do it. I think no matter what happened and which way it was going to go down, people were going to be upset. Like players were going to be upset, and rightfully so. You know, it's their home. They built families there. They have houses there. They have lives there. You know, it's a big change. So, um, I don't know. I really hope that it's a case of Bettman playing 40 chess because I really think a league without Morello is just a better league. I think
100%. And I
having him
think
back
there,
is just going to cause more problems.
yeah, and I think there are far better ownership groups that would
Hmm.
love to build and get a franchise in Arizona.
Yeah.
I Yeah, I just think it'll be a good thing if Morello can't get this done and someone else
Hmm.
comes in and saves the Coyotes because that's the only
Yeah.
way that franchise is ever going to see success.
Yeah. Because like I think if I've obviously never talked to Bettman, but I think if I had to guess where his head's at is he does really want a team in Arizona, but I just think he couldn't get Morello to squeeze. And once he heard, because I believe it did come out in the presser that once he heard that it was another 3 to 5 years in Mullet, that was the breaking
Yeah.
point,
Yep.
which is what we all suspected, and he he needed it to end. He needed the whole situation in Arizona end, and he did want to come back, but he just I don't know. I think he wanted to maintain ties with Morello, just in case no one else was interested in Arizona. But I think he's learning now that a lot of people were, and I think he's kind of coming back to we really don't want Morello, so we're gonna see how this land deal goes. But again, I guess
Yeah.
it's up in the air. Like maybe Morello will pull one last fuck you and actually put the money down for a land deal and then continue his reign of terror. I don't know.
Yep.
We'll never know. But speaking of the whole Salt Lake City situation, apparently Salt Lake City has already sold 11,000 season tickets. I believe that includes full season and half season tickets. So not every seat in the house is going to season ticket holders, but it's still like that shows just the demand that was there from the beginning, and how I think Ryan Smith is handling this transition. I think he's done an amazing job building hype in the city, and as far as the team goes, I've heard that it's turning around. A lot of players are turning around to the idea and becoming more happy with the idea. Um, I heard, I'm not sure how exactly true it is, but Ryan Smith pulled out the good old strat of just taking the boys out for some golf. He took all the entire
Yep.
team out for a round of golf and listened to their concerns and talked to them about his plan in the future. And after that, I haven't heard a single bad word about from the team.
Yeah, that's been
Saying
my
about it.
understanding
So,
too, is that he immediately went and met with every single player and staff member, took them
yep.
out. One thing that I really, really liked from his presser
Mm-hmm.
was he talked about his mentality for the team. And he said one of the things he talked to a lot of the guys about was the idea of like, here's our mentality. These people are coming to see you right now because it's fun and new. You have to give them a reason to keep coming back.
Yep.
And I think that really speaks on how he views the team. He views this team as we are going to contend next year, and we're going to push all of our chips in. We're going to do everything we can to contend. We're going to spend big in free agency. We're going to make big trades. We're going to sign guys to big deals who want to be here, and we're not going to be afraid to push for it. And we're going to give people a reason to keep coming back. And I really like that. Again, it's you look at Smith's pressers compared to Morello, and it's like, man, like there's no wonder why the NHL wanted this guy to be an owner. Like he's so
Mm-hmm.
passionate. He wants this team to be good so badly.
Mm-hmm.
I know that they're already doing renos on the Delta Center, and they're going to continue next off season so that they can get up to a capacity of 17,000.
Yep.
Just talk about like it's good news. It's honestly good news for this franchise because they have an owner who's willing to let the team be good and spend and contend, and we don't have to worry about an internal budget because our owner's just going to write a blank check for whatever we need, and
Yep.
that's going to go a long way. And I think a lot of guys who were maybe considering not staying are probably reconsidering it now
Yep.
after all of this. And so that's only a good thing for the Coyotes because if they can build on what they had this season, they're going to be a sneaky team to watch. So finally some good news with this franchise.
Yeah. No.
Although
Like
of course it's not in Arizona.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like it's honestly night and day watching like how Smith is handling it over Morello. Like Morello is a, forgive me, but a chicken shit coward who wouldn't even show up to the last game, and Smith is actively sitting down with every player and every staff member saying, "Here's my goals. Here's what I want to do," and hearing their feedback. I think that's so underrated in ownership, where it's talking to the team and talking like getting
And
direct
being
knowledge.
involved. Like
Yeah.
one of the things that has pissed me off about Flames ownership for the longest time is that our ownership group is not involved. They like I don't even want to mention his name, the owner who lives up in Switzerland. He could care less about this team's day-to-day ops. Like this guy is just concerned about turning a profit. He doesn't really care how they're doing. Obviously, he wants playoff revenue, but he's not involved enough in the game or knowledgeable enough to understand how to get there. I think the org is making the right steps, but it's night and day when your owner, like I think of Tampa Bay's owner, and how he is so involved with the players and the community. Like he has revitalized Tampa Bay's economy. Like I think their mayor was speaking at one point saying that like after their current owner came in the early 2010s, like their economic outlook completely turned around and he's completely revived Tampa Bay's economy. because he's so involved in the community. He's built out all these massive districts. He's funding so many projects. Obviously, the team on the ice speaks for itself. They're one of the best teams. They've been one of the best teams in the league since their inception, and certainly since he came in the 2010s. That level of ownership goes a long way. Smith has that level of ownership, so part of me is like, I'm excited to see where this goes. Like, this team could really do some damage because they have full support and they know that they can go all in.
Yeah, like Tampa's one of those teams. It's the same with like Toronto. Like, can you imagine Toronto without the Leafs, or like can you imagine Edmonton without the Oilers?
No,
Like
I couldn't.
yeah, like it's some cities like are built like that where they're so tied to their franchise, and like I think the living in Calgary, it's similar with the Flames, but I think it's part of me thinks the city would be fine without the Flames, even if like money wise at least. But yeah, no, like it shows like a good owner can not only turn a team around but turn like a whole city around, and like
Yeah, and like I think here, like we're so reliant on oil and gas revenue, right? That makes up most of our GDP. Other cities like a Tampa Bay, like a Toronto, like you said, their teams are so directly tied. Like these teams drive GDP in the city. And I think Salt Lake's going to be no different. Like I imagine they're going to break attendance records. They're going to make a shit ton of money. They're going to drive a ton of tourism. They're going to have a competitive team. I guarantee you once those jerseys are available, the jerseys are going to sell like hotcakes.
oh, I'm buying one.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm excited
I'm buying
for
a Logan Cooley Salt Lake jersey.
I can't wait to see the color scheme in the logo.
Oh,
like
it's gonna be so good.
this is what drives sales. Hype drives sales, and what better way to get people in a market excited than saying, "Hey, we're gonna ice a good ass team next year, and you're gonna want to get in here to see this."
Yeah, like I that kind of reminds me. What was your? I think we talked about it a little bit, but like, what was your thinking for the name of the team?
Well, there was a bunch. Like, I know the popular one is the Yetis. I've heard the Blizzard. I've heard the Outlaws. I've heard the Fury, the Venom. I, I was. I'm still under the impression that they're going to go with some kind of animal theme. I think that just makes the most sense for like when I think of Utah and like this big mountainous, like kind of foresty state. I think the Yetis would be interesting. I don't know if they'll go with the Yetis or the Blizzard because that's a little too similar to what Colorado has going on. Because like Colorado has like the Yeti foot as one of their shoulder patches, as well as their mascot. The hockey guy actually had some really good names. I don't know if you watched that video. I really
did.
one of them that I really liked
what he
was
had,
the
but
Stingers,
yeah,
which is their national like insect. I think that would be really like a neat name.
I didn't even know states had national insects.
Yeah, they have.
I
Well,
didn't even know that.
the elk is their national like mammal and stuff. Which I don't know. I don't think the elk goes hard enough, but I could see it.
Well, my only thing with that is, it's just I don't know. I kind of want something out there and kind of
yeah, something kind of wild. Like, give me like the Stingers, or give me like the
I think,
Prospectors, some crazy thing like.
yeah, I think he mentioned in the video the only issue with the Stingers is I think that's the
Columbus
team name for Columbus's mascot.
Yeah.
Which could cause some issues, but I've just pulled up his video. He had the scorpions, spiders, elk, badgers, otters, wolverines, Gila monsters. I don't know if that's what
Yeah.
Rattlesnakes, yetis, Sasquatch, pioneers, golden eagles, Olympians, blizzards, and stingers.
I would be so cool with the pioneers, Olympians, stingers, even like wolverines. Give me the honey badgers. Like do something crazy. Or could you imagine how crazy a logo with the spiders could be? Like the color scheme and logo, that could go crazy.
Yeah, like I've seen like people talking about like the spiders and stuff and saying like, oh, it's too generic. I'm like, I can't think of a single professional team in any sport named the Spiders.
I'm just thinking of like this like crazy spider logo with like maybe like a purple, like an off purple jersey or something crazy. Like,
Yeah, and you could do some shit with like webbing on the like sleeves
oh,
and like
webbing on the sleeves would be sick.
oh, dude,
That is a
I'm
way
so
you
hyped.
could sell a team.
Yeah, dude, I'm so hyped. It's gonna be
Yeah,
so great.
it's gonna be. I'm really excited. I think the announcement of at least the colors is coming in the next few weeks. So
Awesome. I have a feeling it's gonna be black, white, and silver. That's my pick.
I'm gonna go for. I think it's gonna be like an off blue. Like I think like more of a teal, like kind of leaning towards purple. That's the vibe I get. Either that or I wonder if it's gonna be yellow. Like I think it's either gonna be a bluish color or like a yellow, not like a Predator's yellow, but like something a little more out there. So I'm excited.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be great. We'll have a whole episode talking about that, I'm sure. Um, but speaking on to more pressing matters, we are we're not really late to the party. The playoffs haven't even started yet, but playoff brackets. Seb will have thrown up some graphics of our brackets here.
Yep.
Also, just wanted to mention shout out to the NHL for making this really difficult. You can't apparently, at least with the way we had it, or maybe we're just dumb. You can't like screenshot it like in past years, like your bracket. So Seb had to painstakingly stitch it together so if it looks a little funny, that's why. But thanks NHL. Love you. God, that's fucking annoying.
So walk me through your bracket. I want you to walk me
Go
through East every round, West every round. I want your thought process because I'm curious. We have a lot of the same picks. We have some different ones. So I'm really curious to see what you thought. So start walking me through this.
So I'll start out with let's go. I'll start out with Dallas versus Vegas. This one to me is a little more open and shut than a lot of past years. I think Vegas has been looking mighty shaky, and even if Mark Stone does come back, I think they're going to have a really tough time figuring out Dallas. I think Dallas is just too deep. They're too they got that like 4-line punch at this point. Like each line will punish you if you let them. And Vegas has been showing that they have had trouble playing all 90 minutes. So I think they're going to have a really tough time against Dallas. I think they're going to get shocked, and I think it'll be a close series. I don't think it'll be a sweep by any means. I think I had them going in 6 games. I could probably pull it up, but I think I had them going to 6 games. I don't think it'll quite go to 7, but yeah, I think Dallas is going to take that one purely on their depth alone. I just don't think they can. Vegas can keep up with what they got going on.
100%. I was the same exact way in my thinking. I just think even if they get Mark Stone back, like the team is still really banged up from the Cup run. I think Dallas, there's a chance they would have won that series last year if Ottinger hadn't gotten injured.
Yeah.
I think this Dallas team is deeper. They're playing better. They just seem like a team of destiny. Like I can't. In my head I was like, okay, the Golden Knights and their bullshit. Like they'll find a way. But at the same time, I'm like, no. Like I just don't see it. Like this is Dallas team. There's no way. So I think I had them going in 6 as well. Might have been 7 now that I'm thinking about it. But I more so agree with the 6 games. So yeah, in my mind, this is Dallas's series through and through.
Yeah. So that's kind of just me for Dallas. Moving over to Winnipeg and Colorado. This is arguably my more controversial take, or maybe my second most controversial take of my bracket is I do think Winnipeg's going to take this. I think it's going to go to 7. But I think Colorado has been looking unrealistically shaky, or unusually shaky as of recently. And their last 2 games have been bad. There's no ifs or buts about it. They've just been bad. Um, they they got stomped by the Jets. Like that's the thing is like I get losing to your opponent. That's fine. Like that you're gonna meet in the playoffs. But
But
like
losing that bad.
losing that bad, like 7-0, is concerning. And
And
you
I,
gotta go
yeah.
ahead.
I was going to say, and I think, like, added context to that, they were still fighting for seeding in the division at that point. So, like, they
Mm-hmm.
needed that. Colorado wanted that win so that they could get home ice.
Mm-hmm.
And to go out and put that performance out, like, they already kind of knew they were going to play Winnipeg, but you want that home ice advantage.
Yeah.
And I, like, to me, that was hella concerning.
Yeah, like you got to think at the very least what that does to your confidence as a team. Like what that does to going into the playoffs and think like maybe we're not as bulletproof as we think we are. Maybe we're not as good as we think we are. And you'll never catch me doubting. Well, I guess you are right now, but you'll never catch me like fully doubting Colorado. I think there's a good chance. That's why I think it'll go to 7. Because I just think I don't I there's a good chance that Colorado just goes out there and sweeps them. Like it's definitely possible, but I think this Winnipeg team is hungry and they're due for one. They really know they're due for one, but I don't know. I don't know if Colorado can keep up with Hellebuck. I don't think they can figure him out.
Yeah.
Again, it's McKinnon, McCarr, Rantanen, all those guys. I'm sure they'll pull some bullshit, but I don't know if playoff Hellebuck shows up, then I think Colorado's in big trouble, especially with Gorgiev. That matchup, Gorgiev versus Hellebuck, Hellebuck takes that in his sleep.
Yeah,
So
I was the same exact way. I think the Jets are due for this one. I had the Jets in 6. I look at this Jets team. They're so deep. They swept the season series against Colorado, and I know regular season doesn't matter and all that, but like you said, like they didn't just beat them. They pulverized them in every single game. And Georgiev has gotten worse as the season's gone on. Hellebuck's gotten better as the season has gone on. Even though he wasn't playing bad, it's just that's the level he's at. And Brossoit's been really good too. This Jets team is due. Colorado's banged up. Like I was just reading that Devon Taves and Jonathan Drouin are out. Drouin's out for the series, and Taves is day to day. Like I just don't see it this year for Colorado. I think they need an answer in goal. I wonder if they're going to make a huge swing in the offseason to grab a starter kind of out of nowhere. Maybe like a Jacob Markstrom type. Like maybe out of nowhere, it's like, oh shit, Colorado. I just don't think this is their year. I think the Jets. I'm surprised at how many people have been picking Colorado. And I think, honestly, it's just recency bias
yeah,
because this Jets team is due. They're pulverizing teams. They've proven that they deserve to be here. There's no way. So I got Jets in 6. I like the way you think.
yeah. I think too many people discount the Jets, myself included. I was for the longest time up until like honestly I was making this bracket. I was like, yeah, probably Colorado's gonna take it, but thinking about it and looking at that last game, like I don't know. I have my concerns. Going over to Canucks and Nashville. This one was probably the hardest in the first round for me because I'm hot on both these teams. Both these teams are playing with house money. Both these teams should not be where they are, on paper at least. And I don't know. I think Nashville has that slight edge where they can play, like I said, like play all 90 minutes. Like I think they can play the whole game. They are relentless. They will make you work for it. And I just don't know if the Canucks have an answer for that amount of just sheer pressure from all lines. And I think that's something they've been struggling with all season, even though they've been really good. They have been struggling to play the full game. And yeah, I don't know. I think Nashville will squeak out their depth will squeak out this round for me. I think it'll either go to 6 or 7. I think majority of these series will go relatively far. I don't think we're going to see a sweep this year.
I agree.
In any round. So I think it is definitely one of those years that it's just all the teams are too good right now, and all the teams are playing too well. The only series I can see a sweep happening is maybe New York and Washington, but I still think that's a maybe. I think Lindgren can pull out a win or two, but we'll see. So yeah, I think I'm saying Nashville takes that in 7. And yeah, going down to the unexpected series nobody saw coming that we've never seen before.
Definitely not.
Really exciting new matchup here with LA versus Edmonton. I've obviously am taking Edmonton. I think LA is going to do what they usually do and make us work for it. I think LA is going to squeeze out a few wins here and make it interesting. They've always made it interesting, but I don't know. I don't think LA, it's just not their year this year. Maybe I could be totally wrong, but I just don't think they will have an answer for Skinner. I think Skinner's playing fantastic. Every time he's played LA, he's looked great. And like, of course, McDavid and Draisaitl, but also like you got the depth guys coming down and who are playing really well. Warren Fogel's having a great year. Holloway's come back and he's looking great. So I think this is going to be the Oilers series. But I don't know. Again, like I could see it going either way at this point.
I was the same way. I think I have the Oilers winning this in 7. I think the Kings are going to make them work for it, like you said. But trap hockey in 2024 does not win you playoff series. I'm sorry. Unless you are adept and have a really... Like, Carolina will play trap sometimes. But when Carolina plays trap, they play trap well because they have an insanely gifted roster. This LA team is still hanging on to a lot of threads like Kopitar and Doughty. I think they need to finally bite the bullet and move on from some of their older guys because they have a lot of great younger talent on the team. Yeah. Not talking you, Pierre-Luc Dubois. What a terrible trade, but that's an aside. I just... this is the same shit 3 years in a row. The Oilers are going to come in. LA's going to maybe squeak out 1 or 2 overtime wins on like a greasy goal. And LA is starting Cam Talbot. And I'm sorry, but the Oilers own Cam Talbot and have owned him since.
We literally did for a while.
Yeah, you quite literally owned him. Yeah. I think this is the worst Kings goalie that they have iced against the Oilers. This is the worst defense that they've iced against the Oilers. I think this is the worst roster that they've iced against the Oilers as far as I'm concerned. Like, this series might be over faster than I'm thinking, but I'll give the Kings a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, but I think the Oilers, I'm in agreement. They're going to take this one.
Yeah, it is worth mentioning that it is really difficult to beat the same team 3 times in a row. It's been historically hard for teams to do that.
Especially 3 years in a row. Like that's
3 years.
I can't remember the last time that happened where the team.
I don't know if it has ever happened. It probably has in like the original 6 days, but I don't think that really counts.
Like 3 years in a row over the past couple of years, it's definitely there's been some switch ups. So third time's a charm. I think
the Oilers did it against Dallas not like a few years back.
Yeah.
So like it can happen, but Oilers in 6. So that's where I'm going with that one. Moving over to the Battle of Florida. This one's
it's tough. I had a hard time too.
Yeah, this one had me thinking. I'm gonna go with Florida just because they've looked far more consistent than Tampa this year. And I think it's a little more of the safer option. But I, again, could see this one going either way. I could very much see Tampa making an upset. But I don't know. Florida, they're banged up as hell. But I don't know. I just don't know about this one.
This was my hardest series too. I took Florida. I agree that they've been the better team this year. I originally took Tampa, but then I thought about it more and I was like, okay, This Tampa roster is worse than last year's Tampa roster.
Mm-hmm.
Vasilevsky's been playing better relatively this year than he was last year, but he's still not at that like same level pre-injury, pre-back injury.
Mm-hmm.
This Tampa roster is worse. I think they're really heading towards like a retool, like, and I think they like the Bruins did back in the mid 2010s, where they kind of got rid of some of their older guys and brought in a lot of younger talent and like kept their window open with guys like Bergeron and Marchand, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So I picked Florida because they've been the better team this year, and I'm hoping this one doesn't come to bite me because at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, if Vasilevsky turns back the clock, yeah, Florida's this team's gonna go on a run again because Vasilevsky will will this team to
Mm-hmm.
a victory. But I
Yeah.
agree. I think Florida's the better team on paper this year. I think I had the Panthers winning it in 7. I think it's gonna be
Yeah.
really close, and whoever wins this, like, oh man, I just this could come to haunt me. I think.
Yeah, this is the one where this could fuck over our bracket a little bit, but I think, yeah, I would say Florida in 6. I think the thing with this one is I don't know where it's going to go, but I feel like whichever way it goes, it's going to go faster than we think. Like, I think it's going to be once one team gets momentum, they're just going to carry that the rest of the
Yeah,
series.
I have a feeling that this is going to be like one team wins the first 2 games, and then it's
Hmm.
just over from there.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping it's Florida so that my bracket is right. But man, if
Hmm.
Tampa Bay goes on a run, I'm going to be pissed because
Yeah.
if they get hot, they're probably going to go to the finals. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's just not even a question with how talented they are.
Hmm. Yeah, totally. So yeah, I take Florida in 6. Then moving over to one of my favorite all-time matchups, Boston, Toronto. It's a classic. I'm so happy this happened. I'm really, really hyped for
Yep,
this one. Um, Other than like the LA Oilers series, this is probably the one I'm going to be watching the most because I think this
I'll be
is,
tuned in tonight.
yeah, I'll be tuned in. Arguably the most evenly matched series in the first round. Um, I think I do think Boston's going to take it. I think it will go all the way to 7. The only reason I think Boston's going to take it is because of their goaltending. I think Allmark is going to show his his true colors again. I think he's going to blossom into the playoff monster that he can be. And I just don't know if Toronto's admittedly not hugely depth-wise offense can keep up. They do have some good depth, but I don't know if relying on Matthews is going to come back and bite him. Marner hasn't looked fantastic. I believe, is he still injured?
No, he's back. But
Okay.
one thing to note, I just read that William Nylander will not play tonight. He's apparently
Okay.
dealing with a minor injury, though he should be back for game 2. But
Mm.
that's something to keep in mind as well.
Yeah, like no Nylander. That's going to hurt him. I don't know. Like I just don't think. I think Boston is kind of their kryptonite. I think they have a tough time facing Boston. Um, I think honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Toronto fans are scared of Boston. So
They got PTSD.
yeah, they get pretty bad PTSD. These series have always been interesting. They've always been tight, but I think it's history is going to repeat itself. I
Yep.
think Boston's just going to walk away with this one. And then down to the President's Trophy winners versus the guys that arguably shouldn't even be here in the first place. So it's the Capitals versus the New York Rangers. Obviously, I'm going with the Rangers, but I just
I don't think you
not
can
much
make
to
an
say about this
argument for
one.
the Caps.
Yeah, like I honestly, I'm trying to think of one. Like this is not their year. I get Ovi's playing well. I get Lindgren's having a great season. But yeah, I don't see them going very far. They could totally make an upset. Maybe Rangers are totally the type to choke, and they do have that President's Trophy curse. So we'll see. But I really just don't see see Washington making it past
Yeah,
New
I
York.
was the same. I got Rangers in 5. I think
Mm-hmm.
Lindgren, like you mentioned, is going to steal a game. He has the
Mm-hmm.
ability. He's the only guy on that team playing truly well. This is not a Columbus and Tampa situation.
Yeah.
I legitimately cannot like the Caps. Credit to them for getting this far. They
Mm-hmm.
do not have the talent. The Rangers are too stacked. They're playing too
Mm-hmm.
well. The Caps haven't even been playing that well going into the playoffs. Like I just
Like
I do
barely.
not see it.
Yeah.
It's they're gonna win. The Caps are gonna win one game at most because Lindgren is an absolute beast.
Yeah.
I This Rangers team is gonna mop them otherwise.
Yeah, they literally had to call in a favor from Philadelphia just to make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's I'm gonna take New York in that one. Speaking of New York versus Carolina, the Islanders versus Carolina, I should say. Um, I'm going to go with Carolina. I think New York will make it interesting. I think it'll be a similar situation to the Oilers LA series where
Hmm.
Carolina will take it and be pretty dominant throughout, but I think the Islanders will give them a run for their money and kind of make them sweat a little bit about it. But what do you think about that one?
I am similar. I have the Canes in 6. I
Mm-hmm.
think the Islanders, credit where credit is due. They're on like an 8-game win streak going into the playoffs. Like they deserve to be here more than I think the Capitals did. It's unfortunate that they had to match up against their seemingly new kryptonite in the Canes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think they're going to make the Canes work for it, but this is a mismatch. Like the Canes are going to mop them otherwise. And
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Waugh, love Patrick Waugh, but he's going to get flustered in this series after he sees the Canes pound them, and it could be over faster because of that. Like I'm saying
Yeah.
6. This could be a sweep. This
Mm-hmm.
could be if the Canes get out hot and they start really grinding away. And I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Dobson and Pajot are injured, and losing Noah Dobson is huge. Like he's
Yeah.
been their star defenseman this year. He's been an absolute stud on the power play. They already are struggling on the power play, and I believe Carolina has the number one penalty kill and power play in the league. Actually, I could be wrong. I think Tampa has the best power play in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I take that back, but I believe Carolina has the number one power play or penalty kill in the league. Like there's gonna be, I don't see how the Islanders are scoring goals.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a bloodbath. So I think they'll make them work for it, but the Canes take this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's definitely sweet potential. But yeah, Canes in 6, I would say. That'll be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then I'll move right over to the Carolina versus New York series. This is, I think, the true test for Carolina. I think
Mm-hmm.
this is the true test of if they can um, make it over that hump that they've been struggling to do for years now in the playoffs, where like they'll have an amazing regular season, but then they just choke in the playoffs. I think this is the true test. But yeah, like I give Carolina the edge. I think they're just when they're on, they're way more on than New York, in my opinion. They they can make something that I've had a problem with the Rangers for the longest time is, and they've kind of fixed it this season, but I feel like they will have an easy matchup against the Capitals, do really well, win it out, go to the second round, and then just think of it as house money. I've always found them to be a kind of a cocky team,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of a holier than thou with President's Trophy and everything now. I think they will definitely kind of get cocky, but I think Carolina's going to give them a nice slap of reality because I just don't see them making it past their defense.
I hope so.
Like yeah, yeah, like I I just don't see it. I think Carolina's defense is too strong. I think their depth scoring is too hard, and I think Shesterkin's going to get peppered. And he's going to only be able to carry him so far. So I think it'll go to 7, but I'm taking Carolina in this one. Um, and then over to Florida and Boston. I Man, I'm like reconsidering my bracket while we're recording. Like, I I do think Boston is a better team than Florida, but I also don't count on them being able to stand up to Florida again. Like, I think they'll have PTSD. I think they'll get nervous, and man, it's gonna be, yeah, this is like a dead ringer. Like,
Gonna
they
be
almost
tough.
there's this is gonna be tough. This is another one's going to 7. I think honestly from the second round up, I wouldn't be surprised if every series goes to 7.
I could see
But
it.
um, yeah, I'm gonna say Boston just because I think, again, I'm just counting on Allmark, and I'm counting on their offense kind of peppering Florida's defense. I think with is Barkov and Lindell back? I haven't been able to check.
Yeah. They are back.
Yeah, so I think Florida's defense is going to have a tough time. I think Florida, they're going to be exhausted after that or after the Tampa series, and then going up against Boston again. I think they're going to have a tougher time of it than they think they are. We'll see what happens. Matthew Tkachuk in the playoffs is a different animal, but we'll see. What do you think?
Um. All right. So I'll actually no. Give me your conference final. Keep going through all
Okay.
your picks, and then I'll just
Okay.
go through mine because ours kind of differ from here on out. So
Okay. Yeah.
keep her going, and then we'll go through mine.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. So then we're moving over to Dallas versus Winnipeg. I think Dallas is going to take this one. I think this one's going to be. I think Dallas. Not to discredit them, but they would have an easier ride than most other teams are going to have. I think they're going to have a pretty good time against Vegas, and then they're going to have a really good time against Winnipeg. I just think Winnipeg won't be able to keep up with their depth and their scoring power. I know Hellebuck is going to be crazy, but he's going to do it the best he can. But I just don't think he can do as much alone as they're hoping. I think the Winnipeg's defense is way more spotty, and going against a team like Dallas, that's going to cost you. I think their spotty defense is going to come to roost, and they're going to be also exhausted after that Columbus series, or the Colorado series.
Yep.
So I think Winnipeg's definitely going to make it interesting. I could see it going to 7 or maybe 6, but I think this is Dallas's for sure. I think they're hungry. I think they want it. I think it's honestly just going to come down to who wants it more, and I really think Dallas wants it more. So, yeah, I'll take Dallas on that one.
Yeah, I'm the
Which
same
gets-
way. I had the same mindset. Like, I'm gonna give credit to the Jets for getting that far, but this Dallas team, we're both in agreement that they're the team of destiny this year. They just have too much depth. When the scoring dries up, I think this is going to be a really good goaltending duel between Ottinger and Hellebuck. But I just think the Jets are going to run out of gas. I trust Dallas's experience to get them through this. Although, having said that, like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, man, Winnipeg could be the team to upset everyone. But I'm going to stick with my guns. I think Dallas has the depth to get it done. This is going to go to 7. It's going to be a really good series. Like, man, if these series come to fruition, they're going to be bloody. They're going to be fun. They're going to be great. But I agree. I think Dallas gets the deed done.
Yeah. Then go down to Nashville and Edmonton. This one's a shot in the dark for me. I honestly have no idea. I want to say Edmonton just because I think, again, I trust Skinner. I trust McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, Nuge, all those guys. I trust them. I think they'll make it interesting. I just don't know if Nashville will... I don't think they're going to go down easy. I think Nashville has... I believe they've had one out the majority of the games against them this year.
I believe... I think... Actually, I'm not sure. No. Draisaitl owns the Preds. I'm pretty sure they won both.
Oh, yes. So, yeah, okay. I'm going to... Yeah. So, um, yeah, I think Drysaddle's gonna go crazy. He gets kind of stars in his eyes when he sees Saros for some reason. He has him figured out. I think Draisaitl will cook if he's healthy. He'll cook. I think McDavid will do his thing, and I just don't know if Nashville can keep up. They do have the depth on the forward line, but I don't know if they have the defensive depth to stop them once they get rolling. So I think Oilers will take that in most likely in 6, if not 7. But it's I'm gonna be excited for that one. That's gonna be great. That's gonna be a
Yep,
great series.
100%. Now for your
Um,
conference finals.
yeah. Now for the big ones. So my conference final in the West. Where did it go? In the West, Dallas versus Edmonton. Um, I much as I love my boys in Orange, I gotta give it to Dallas. They're just looking too hot right now. I don't think they can keep up with the depth that Dallas has. I don't think they can keep up the with Ottinger. Like if Otten, with Dallas, it comes down to if everything clicks at the right time, then every other team is screwed. In my opinion, like if Ottinger clicks with it, if the defense clicks, if the offense keeps rolling like they are, I don't think any other team stands a chance. Like I think they are bar none the best team in the league when everyone's playing at their best. And I know that they're going into this season, everyone wants to play at their best, and they're going to be playing at their best. So I think at this point, going all the way to the conference finals, Dallas is just going to be so high on the momentum that I don't think anyone can stop them.
Yep.
Um,
I am in full agreement. I have the same conference finals match. I
mhm,
think I trust Jake Ottinger if he is playing at the level I know he can and have
mhm,
seen and witnessed the horrors of. This Dallas team, I mean, we saw in the regular season when they smoked the Oilers, what
mhm.
was it, 5-1 the other week? Or was it a
Yeah,
shutout? I can't remember. I think it was
it
5-1.
was it was 5-0, I think.
Yeah. It's this Dallas team. The one thing about Dallas is they beat the shit out of good teams. Like
Hmm.
they're not like some teams who feed off of bottom feeders and then can't
Hmm.
play against the bigger clubs. Like this Dallas team just pummels any good team.
Hmm.
Their one piece of kryptonite is the Golden Knights. But
Yeah.
if they get through the Knights like we think they will, I think that's slaying the dragon and they're going to be like all guns blazing. So
Yeah.
I don't think Skinner's the gut. Like I think Skinner's gonna get lit up in this series if it happens.
Hmm.
I think it'll be high scoring because
Hmm.
guys like McDavid and Draisaitl will make that happen. But I trust Ottinger and their depth to get it done. And so yeah, I think Dallas. I think they'll take it in 7 and find their way in the finals.
Yeah. Totally. And then going over to the East, Boston versus Carolina. I'm gonna take Carolina. Just again purely the reason of depth. I think this year more than any year is the year of depth. I think depth will win the day. And Carolina, like again, I think Boston's gonna have a tougher road than Carolina is, and I think going into the conference finals, they're going to be exhausted. Allmark is going to get just peppered. Their defense and goaltending in Boston is fantastic, but I also think that the offense in Carolina is better. I think once they get rolling, they get rolling. Once they get a groove, it's just all over for them. Boston will put up a fight. I see this going to 7, but I do think it's not quite Boston's year. They had a fantastic regular season, like always, but if it'll translate to playoffs is the big question. But I think Carolina is far more hungry and far more in the need for a win than Boston. So I think they're gonna just on pure anger take this one, and that'll lead to a Dallas Carolina final. And this is the part where I think I was sitting here for like a good hour thinking, where I was like, okay, what the fuck do I even do now? Because this is the hardest. hardest one by far for me. But I honestly, I believe in Dallas so much that I do think this is Dallas's year. I think this is definitely going to 7. I think Dallas is just playing way too good right now. They're just rolling, and at this point, like if they even sniff the Cup Finals, like they're gonna get PTSD from their last run to the finals against Tampa, but in a good way. They're not gonna like cower in fear. They're gonna use it and learn from it, and then they're gonna just absolutely crush Carolina, who who is a good team, but they don't have that Cup Finals experience as of recently. They don't know, like they haven't seen what it takes to get all the way to the top of the mountain. And it's all about who just plants their flag in first. I think, again, this will be a very back and forth series, but I think Dallas will just, like, once they start scoring, they're just not going to be able to stop. And I think this is finally Dallas's year. So, like, the thing with Dallas, too, is what's scary about them as well is even if it's not their year this year, they have so much depth and so many young guys that they're going to be good for a long while here. They're going to be good for at least 5 or 6 more years, in my opinion. If they can keep everyone around, keep everyone healthy, then this isn't their last shot. But I think this year is better than any. That Dallas is just going to make that run and clinch it.
Yep. So, I agree.
That's my bracket.
Yeah, I agree with most of your picks. There are some. I'll get into our differences. So, on the West, I in round 1 have the Canucks beating the Preds. I think I might be underrating the Canucks too much. Like I'm honestly wondering if this Canucks team is going to give the Oilers a headache in round 2. I think the Canucks, like, if we had made these brackets, like 3 weeks ago, I probably would have taken Nashville. But Nashville's been playing as of late, and the more I thought about it, the more I was like, you know what, I have to pick with my brain and not my heart. My heart doesn't trust the Canucks, but I look on paper, and I'm like, okay, this Canucks team is hungry. I think it's a similar situation to where the Flames were in 2022, where they were hungry, they were ready to go, they're on the new coach buzz, their goaltender's playing well, they have some good depth. I think they get through the first round. I think they'll do it in 6. I think Nashville's going to give them a headache. I can absolutely see Nashville taking this, though. Like, this is another one that could come back to bite me really badly if Nashville plays like that level they were a couple of weeks back. But I think this Canucks team is hungry for a win, and I see them taking this one. And then I have the Canucks and the Oilers in round 2. I'm going to take the Oilers here. I know that the Canucks swept the season series, but I truly think that doesn't matter in this case. I think the playoff experience, like McDavid and Draisaitl are hungry. They are going to feast on Thatcher Demko. I really like Demko. He's an elite goaltender. But when he gets hung out to dry, he either A, gets injured, or B, just lets in some bad ones. He has a very similar kind of skill set to Jacob Markstrom, except I would say Demko is obviously better. But they both, like, when they start getting torched, they get torched. And half the time it ends with them being injured. So,
and he's just getting off an injury now, too.
Yeah, which that concerns me as well. That concerns me about the first round matchup, but I don't think the Preds are like that much of like a pepper shots kind of team to threaten that. But I think the Oilers take advantage of the Nucks kind of riding their little high. I think it's going to be similar to the Flames-Oilers series a couple years back. I think the Oilers maybe lose one game and just steamroll them the rest of the way. Yeah. So we have the same conference final. Obviously, Dallas going. First round series on the East. My only difference is I have the Leafs winning over the Bruins in round 1. This is a controversial pick. Just to quiz you, do you know when the last time Toronto beat Boston in a series was?
Oh, fuck. Probably like the 1900s. Like,
yeah. They last beat the Boston Bruins in a playoff series in 1959.
Holy, holy fuck.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
so I know. Like, originally I picked the Bruins because I was like, lol, Bruins, like, ha ha ha. Like,
Yeah.
they're just going to win. But I thought about it more. I think Toronto has the depth to do it this time. I don't like Boston's forward core. They're a lot worse this year. I think their defense is honestly worse this year on Boston. They've lost a lot of pieces. I know that Allmark and Swayman have been playing well, but we saw what happens in the playoffs last year. Allmark is due for that one bad goal, and Bruce Cassidy will make one bad goaltending switch. And what I really like that Toronto has been doing is they've been splitting their lines. They've been playing Tavares on the third line, they've been playing Nylander on the second line, and they've been playing Matthews and Marner on the first line and plugging guys around them. And I think that is the one thing that Sheldon Keefe has been refusing to do these past few years, and it's been costing them. Because when you stack all your depth up at the front, when you need those third and fourth lines to go buy you a goal, they can't do it. But when you play a guy like Tavares on the third line with capable wingers like a young guy like Robertson and McMahon, like that is a threat of a third line. You can't stop every single line. If you have the depth, you get it done. Look at Vegas last year. Their fourth line was like some teams' second lines. And so you could shut down the first two lines, but then lines 3 and 4 come out and it's over. So I think the Leafs can do it. If they don't, they lose based off of goaltending. Like, obviously, Samsonov is nowhere near the same level as Allmark and Swayman. I think the Leafs can get it done, though. I really do. I think this is their year to beat Boston. And honestly, next year, if the Leafs get better goaltending, they could. I think they can do it. Like, I really do. Just not this year. But I think they beat Boston in 7. I think they slay that dragon. And then going into the second round, I have Florida and the Leafs. I think Florida takes this. I think Toronto's going to be riding that high of like, yeah, we beat Boston finally, and yeah, we're back in the second round. Like, we're beating all of our curses, and then Florida just mops them. I think Florida is just too strong. They have too much depth. Their goaltending is too good. Their swag too tough. They smoke too hard. I think Florida takes this. Then I have the Rangers in Carolina. Oh, this one's so tough. I am going to take the Rangers in this one, though. My heart wants to take the Canes. My brain says the Rangers. Like, they're just too deep. And I think they have the scoring to beat Carolina. I like Freddie Anderson. I don't like him in a matchup against the Rangers. And Shesterkin's been playing way too good since the All-Star break. So, like, I really hope the Canes pull this off. A lot of these picks were more like, okay, if I make these picks, then I'm not going to get disappointed when they happen. But if the inverse happens, then I'm going to be really happy because a lot of the teams that I really want to see move on are teams that I didn't pick because I was voting more with my head. And so I have the Panthers and the Rangers in the conference final. I think the Rangers smoke the Panthers here. I think the Panthers are going to be running on fumes at this point, banged up. The Rangers just seem like a team of destiny this year. And one thing to note is that every single time the Rangers have won the President's Trophy, they have gone to the Stanley Cup Finals. That is a fact. The last time they did it was in the series against LA where they lost in the finals. So, continuing that tradition, I have the Stars and the Rangers in the finals. I also have the Stars taking the cup home. I'm in agreement. This Stars team is too good. I think the Rangers are going to test them hard. I think Bettman's going to love this matchup because it's a huge market in New York, and Texas is a booming market in all sports. Like, think about how many Texas teams have been winning championships across major sports over the past couple of years. And I think Bettman really would love to see the Stars win it. I think they're too deep. This is going to be a really good series. Like, I hope this is... Oh, no, actually, I hope it's your pick. I would love to see Dallas and Carolina. There's always that one evil team that gets through where you're just like, fuck. Like, of course these guys got in. Like, I think over the past couple of years, there's always been clearly like one team where you're like, I don't want to see this team win. I think that's going to be the Rangers this year. So I think I'm pretty confident in Stars Rangers in the final, but I think the Stars get it done. So
Yeah. I, s- I'm also, I'm double checking your work, and you are right, but you did leave out that before 2015, last time they won the President's Trophy was in 1997.
yeah, so there's been a bit of a gap, but they have gone to the finals every time they've won it.
True.
And to be
Very true.
fair, they won it with guys like Kreider, although I think Kreider might be the only one left on from that team. But
Yeah.
regardless, superstitions, new coach bump. Man, this Rangers team pisses me off. So if there's one team, like it's either them or the Knights that are going to make the final, and I'm going to be pissed about it because I won't want to see them
Yeah.
win. And I'm going to be
I
really pissed if the Rangers or the Knights win because that's like Hitler winning.
yeah, I just don't see them winning. Like I just don't like I'm sorry Rangers fans, but I just don't see them making it over the hump. I don't see them I can see them making it to the top of the mountain, but I don't see them planting their flag in it kind of thing. Like I think once they go against Dallas, they're just because like if you look at their matchups, like yeah, they got an easy road in the Capitals, and like if looking at your bracket, like they got a really tough series against Carolina, and then a really tough series against Florida. Going into the finals, like they're gonna be exhausted, and like the Dallas, like they just I don't know, they have the experience of in the Cup finals, like we talked about. They have the hunger for it. I don't see them having an answer for Dallas. I really don't, and I see you can agree with me.
Yep, 100%.
But yeah, so that was our brackets. Feel free to yell at us in the comments or agree with us or whatever.
I can't wait to see how wrong we are after all of our first round predictions.
I know this
are
could
wrong.
be. I do see this being like last year where everyone's brackets are destroyed in the first two rounds, and like nobody was right. But I'm confident in mine. I think if not exactly right, I think something similar will happen. But that's pretty much all I got. Is there anything you want to mention or talk about, Seb?
Nope, I'm just excited
sign
to
off?
watch the games. I am excited
Yep.
to watch Leafs Bruins tonight. It's going to be really
Yep.
good. I like if I was picking with my heart, I would say Dallas Carolina final. Maybe even Carolina wins the cup. If I'm picking with my heart, but I just hope everyone has fun.
That's the most important part. Just have fun, everybody.
Yeah, and I hope no stupid teams make it through, and everyone.
Yeah.
I hope that we can all have a fun civil time.
Yes, let's all have fun, except Knights fans. You guys aren't allowed to have fun. Everyone else, have fun. It's a fun time. Playoffs, best time of year. So, yeah, thank you all for listening. We'll probably be back with some playoff recaps and some thoughts on all the spicy drama that's sure to go down within like 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you all for listening and have a good day.